Hey, so I've got to tell you about this thing that irritates me. Did you see how my elbow fell off the table? Listen, it's not that. It's not how clumsy I am.
Hello, and welcome to the Constance Messmer Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
This is from someone that didn't really say their name because they're kind of being secret and quiet. They are in the US and they're an introvert and they like to stay hidden. So that's cool. I'm going to honor that. But this is about someone that got some bad psychic read, bad mediumship. And that's pisses me off. Okay, here we go. It was a really long letter, came in through the questions, but I'm going to tell you some of it word for word. So they tried getting messages from spirit and then something happened. They freaked out, but not completely. And they felt like someone in spirit world was screaming no at their face. They felt rejected and discouraged, and they were confused for weeks because they were like, wait, whatever. And this was their interpretation of the no, getting the no was their interpretation of the situation. So they turned to a medium for help. The medium told them that their spirit guide was telling them to slow down and that their frequency was not a match. It was not in a match to reach out to them yet. So telling this person that's writing me, your frequency is not a match yet to reach out to the spirit realm. And the medium said something like that you offended them by reaching out when you weren't ready due to your vibrational changes after moving or something, because he was moving. And so this writer said, excuse my language, but how the bleep was me reaching out for help from spirit realm offensive in the spiritual eyes of the guides. You're right. That you should feel that frustration because this medium was wrong. Of all the time, he goes on to say, of all the time I devoted myself to spiritual practices and got no response, they choose to respond by kicking me when I feel the most helpless. Okay, I acknowledge that I'm probably brimming with frustration and getting feisty, but deep down, I just really want to be able to communicate and continue on this journey. And sometimes I really can't pull myself up when I trip and fall. Is that so wrong of me to ask for help? No, it's not. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you went through this. Sorry for this long essay. I have a question, and yes, I'm a blabber, and this question is unnecessarily long. Okay, fine. Thank you for what you do and the positive changes you've brought in my life. Oh, I'm so glad. P.S. If you happen upon my guides, tell them I know I'm not the easiest to work with, but I always do and try my best. And please just be a bit more patient with me. Peace. Okay, first of all, because you said it to me, they hear you in there because you're talking about them. So they're like, wait, he's talking about us. You have to direct that thought to them and then they can hear that. But no, here's the deal. I think that maybe the way the medium either said it was completely off base or maybe how they said it. Yeah, I don't even know because I wasn't there. So I shouldn't say that. So now I'm going to tune into spirit at the same time to say, how should I tackle this one? First of all, spirit would never shut you down like that. Or it's a lower guide, right? You don't want to work with that spirit anyway. But that a medium said that you offended your guides by reaching out with them because you weren't ready due to your vibrational changes. You offended them? No. I mean, no. We don't offend them when we reach out to them. That doesn't happen. So when you ask for help, they show up. And I understand in the start of this, you said it's really hard because you never get clear answers from the other side. No matter how deep you are in meditation, it always feels like a blank slate with not much going on, a blank state. And so I think that there's a few things going on. Don't have expectations to how it's supposed to happen. That's one thing. Because sometimes we think it's going to specifically happen in communication efforts. And sometimes it can, and definitely use all the skills I mentioned in the previous videos about ClairAudience and giving undivided attention, but starting with, asking for them to come around and Clairsensation and feeling, and then taking the conversation from there, asking them to make their voices loud and clear, they will. They won't be offended by that. They want to talk to you. They want to help you in life. That's that's why they're called guides, to help you. And that's not a slam to you. That's just in general to everybody listening, that they're there to help. So I'm discouraged that someone told you that they were upset with you. They don't get upset with us. They have compassion for us, if anything. And so I think that you might notice when you're walking around in your world, like the thoughts that come into your head, and recognize when they're not from you, but they're coming to you. I think, although sometimes, let me just say this, those of you that think, oh, I overthink, or am I making it up? Always ask, am I making this up? What's happening? I do want you to know you're worthy. I feel like there's a little bit of that. I want you to know you're worthy of good, clear communication, connection, love, understanding, appreciation, validation, all of those that I think that you've struggled with in this incarnation. And I think that you need to recognize that that doesn't translate to what occurs from spirit world to you. There's no mistakes, right? I think that when we have a calling or a longing for this kind of connection to understand it deeper, it will come. It will definitely come. And it does come. And sometimes it comes in ways that we don't understand. And so that's why I teach about the 11 soul senses, that maybe there's some other ways that spirit is trying to get in touch with you. I think that when we have moments where we're sitting and trying to talk with spirit to hear something clairaudient in conversation, it's beneficial to write. I don't know that I'd go into meditation with you, those of you that are listening too. Sometimes when we go into meditation, we stay in a lower place, or we go into the dark, just the abyss, and we're not really traveling. We're just waiting in a space, and we're like in a waiting room because we've set that up.
Some Dogs Talk teaches the nuances of animal communication among the pages of fiction, but the stories are based on my life experience. To get your copy, visit my shop or go to constancemessmer.com.
It's really about, I'm going to go higher. I need to make some meditations. I hate leading guided meditations, but I need to make some on getting in touch with your spirit guides. Listen, if by the time you're hearing this, I haven't, go online, see if you can find some things that actually have that, so that it's not a meditation time, but it's a directed visualization experience. I think that's going to be helpful. Let your imaginal realm, let your imagination take hold. Remember, I've said the imaginal realm is an organ for psychic perception. It is one of the things our being uses to have the experience. It all happens in the mind, in the mind's eye. And so let the impressions come, let them unfold, let them become animated. When you're hearing the promptings of whoever's leading the meditation, if it's not me, the visualization, follow the promptings so that you can engage in a solid visionary experience, and then be open to what comes. First thing that comes, it's a thought that's going to come back to you. You might feel like you're making it up, but you're not. If you haven't gotten the book, this is what the protagonist, Tony, his brother Jason, goes through. He feels like he's making it up, and Tony's like, welcome to my world, because it's so, if it's in your own voice, in your own head, and it comes as a thought, the dialogue experience, then yeah, you're going to be like, I'm making this up. And you can ask, am I making this up? Don't let me make this up. Let this be real. Come strong. Am I meant to hear you? And so noticing the way spirit communicates with you, and really playing in those spaces consistently. But it just seems to me, by what you've said, the meditation time that you've had before is not working for you. And I have to admit that when we go into these meditation spaces, spirit can either come to us or we can go to their realm. But if you're in a waiting room, you're not having either happen, right? So I'm not saying you only, Mr. USA, that I can't say your name because you're asking me not to, but you in general, people in general, if they're going and there's crickets, it's because they're not directing their energy way up high. And I'll get into that later. I have to do those meditations. Or you're not recognizing when they come to you. So I invite you to say, come to me in my space. I'm sitting in this chair, come in the room, come in the third dimension to me. Now, I encourage you to keep your eyes closed, but you might recognize how you feel them, or how you notice a presence, or you might get goosebumps or tingling or whatever it is, or a warmth or whatever, and say, great, I feel you. Is that you? And then you'll get like a pressing, or more of that in the book, of like how Tony experiences physical impressions of energy when someone is around, right? This is what you're asking for. So ask spirit to come to you within your space. And then in that, build the rapport from there. Okay, I can feel you. Now give me a memory that I need to know about you. Do I know you from this life? Do I know you from another life? How do I know you? Have you been a guide with me my whole life? Listen, I'm giving you little smorgasbord of what I would put into meditation. Q&A, interview the guide that shows up, but know that they show up. When you ask, they show up. Sometimes our frequency is at a place where we're not going to comprehend the information that comes through, but it's not that we're not ready. And if you're getting that, not a medium telling you, but if you're getting, I must not be ready, then I want you to ask the universe, what do I need to do or know to help me be ready? I think you're ready. I just think your approach, I want to work on your approach, which is why I was saying have them come closer to you here in our space instead of you going into the meditative space. Because there's layers of consciousness in the meditative spaces, and you need to burst through to the other side. So then I'll make a meditation visualization on getting in touch with angels, because that's a different frequency too. But beyond my promises of recording content for you, I definitely want you to recognize that there's these different spaces of consciousness that you could enter into communication efforts, and how you might shift yours as you're troubleshooting this. And don't believe, did that resonate with you? It didn't, because you got mad. But don't get mad at spirit. They didn't say that. He said that. The medium said that. If you're watching me on YouTube, I put air quotes around medium. That's really bad. That's bad. Yeah. I'm going to try to go into his space. What was that about? I think he misinterpreted the experience of what was happening. I don't think you said word for word, but you said he kind of said, my frequency was not a match to reach out to them yet. You needed them. You were desperate. You were helpless. You were feeling like you were down. They're not going to abandon you. That's not how that works. Listen to my Dark Night of the Soul video. There's different ways they get in touch with us. No, they were, no. I'm asking if there's more. I think I've said a lot. There's other ways to troubleshoot. I hope those of you that are listening in kind of take that into consideration too, if you're having a difficult time with getting the results that you want in your meditation time. I've got so much content. I need to really give a full lesson on this and the frequencies of consciousness and connection. So I owe you. I owe you that. I owe you that. Okay, that's it. That's where I'm going to stop. So yeah, don't be disparaged. It's not wrong for you to ask of help. That's what you're supposed to do, and they're there to help. And I just think that you know what? I don't know where you are, but yeah, just, as many of those lessons that you can watch of my stuff, and then, yeah, I'll create more that will address this. Oh my God, I have so much to do. I should have started 20 years ago. Okay, cool. All right. Take good care, and thanks for tuning in. Hey, Constance Messmer here. I just want to do a shout out of big thanks to all the members. I am so grateful. And all the people dropping in and giving little donations here and there and super thanks and all that stuff. I really appreciate you. You members and you people contributing and subscribers are what helped me bring this content to everyone, really. They both contribute to the cost of production, and I am definitely grateful for that. This stuff is not cheap to put out. Oh my God. Oh my God. So every little bit helps, and I am filled with gratitude that you're stepping up. I am not necessarily a joiner, not usually, but there are environmental issues and other organizations that I do belong to and I contribute to because I like to see them persevere. And I'm hoping you feel the same about this work. I hope you put it into practice in your life. That's another way that you could spread this work and help change our world, which is what I think it ultimately does. As you know, I think if everyone tuned into their soul senses, the world would be a much better place. So when you subscribe, it's a big yes vote for the content, and it helps spread the work across the planet. So when you put the lessons into practice and subscribe and like and share. You help me help you carry the lesson beyond you and me. And I am just really grateful. Legally speaking, this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for medical diagnosis, treatment, or the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat a health problem or condition. Always check with your doctor. Thank you.